Brooklyn Park has a new city council member. Tony McGarvey defeated Daniel Goba in a special election on Tuesday. He will fill the vacant West District Council seat previously held by Susan Paugh, who won election to the Minnesota Senate. McGarvey told CCX News he feels strongly about advocating for worker protections.
The thing I'm most excited to get to work on is making sure that any future development done in our city is done responsibly. And by that, I mean if companies or developers are given tax increment financing or anything where the city has a hand in it, I'm excited to make sure that there are worker protections involved.
McGarvey's term will run through the end of next year. The city of Brooklyn Park has distributed more than $1.5 million in federal COVID relief money. As Rusty Ray explains, one recipient is using its share to potentially save dozens of lives.
They have hopes and dreams just like all young people do, but they don't have a place to live.
Hundreds of young people 16 to 24 do find a temporary place to live thanks to Avenues for Youth's locations in North Minneapolis and Brooklyn Park.
We're able to provide not only a place to live and meals to eat, but we provide wraparound supports for young people that include case management supports, an on-site nurse, an on-site doctor, an on-site mental health therapist, so that young people don't fall through the cracks of the system at this really important time in their life.
The city of Brooklyn Park made sure organizations like Avenues could get federal COVID relief money by administering grants from its $11 million in ARPA funds.
They've, proposed programs that have really impacted the residents. It includes work around workforce development. They've included, just basic services like emergency food delivery and things like that. They've also done mentoring for youth and also, provided, like I said, also services to seniors and things like that. So really intentional outreach to residents who were impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Avenues was able to help 24 young people with emergency housing because of the ARPA money it got from the city last year.
79% of the young people who moved out of Brooklyn Avenues last year moved into stable housing, which is well above our agency goal of 70%.
This was a priority for the community as part of, the way to spend the funds. And so our experience or working with the community partners has shown that this has been a really good use of these funds.
Doing good in the community by remaining a safe place for those with nowhere else to go. In Brooklyn Park, Rusty Ray, CCX News.
Local movie theaters are benefiting from one of the top performing Julys in the history of motion pictures. That's according to the National Association of Theater Owners. Delane Cleveland went to a Plymouth movie theater to learn more about the so-called Barbenheimer effect and the plot twists that cinemas could face in the coming months.
Summer blockbusters have always drawn people to the theaters.
Yeah, I like going to the movies. It's nice seeing it on a bigger screen.
But since the COVID shutdowns of 2020, no films have loomed larger than Barbie and Oppenheimer.
It is a cultural event.
Tim Holly is the creative manager for Imagine Willow Creek in Plymouth, which has been riding the so-called Barbenheimer wave for the last several weeks.
We're 3 weeks into it. We're still seeing auditoriums selling out, but it's not just selling out, but it's like people are still coming dressed up and are coming and cheering during the movie.
He's specifically referring to Barbie.
Barbie.
Yeah, Barbie.
Hey, Barbie.
The film, which helps to spark conversations about traditional gender roles, has resonated with fans and recently topped the $1 billion mark at the international box office.
I thought it was really amazing, and the meaning behind it really touched my heart. Kind of made me emotional towards the end.
We're in a race against the Nazis.
Oppenheimer, meanwhile, has grossed half that amount, but is still drawing large crowds, particularly at Willow Creek, which is showing the film in 70mm format.
We're one of a handful of theaters that was able to get an actual film print of it and play it the way Christopher Nolan intended it, which is something we don't do very often, but when we do, it's kind of a special experience.
Holly says that thanks to Barbenheimer, they're seeing numbers they haven't seen since before the pandemic. However, the writers and actors strike happening right now may have an impact in the coming months.
We're paying close attention to it. We're definitely concerned.
He's concerned because studios are starting to postpone the release of certain films, while others currently in production have shut down altogether. Now they're in wait-and-see mode as they hope for the best.
Obviously, nobody knows how long this is going to drag out for. and we'll take this, this box office boom while we can, in hopes that like it rides a little longer.
In Plymouth, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
Coming up this weekend, a chance to get your kids' eyes checked before school starts. The Maple Grove Lions is offering free vision tests for kids 6 months to 16 years old. That will be held at the Brooklyn Center Health Fair on Saturday. The tests are touchless and only take a few seconds to complete.
If action is taken early enough, it can be corrected, and at the very least, the child's vision can be improved through wearing glasses so that it doesn't impact their learning. 80% of learning is visual.
The health fair is from noon to 4, Saturday at Centennial Park. Also this weekend, a chance to bike the Brooklyns, a 5.5-mile bike ride across Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center. That bike ride starts at the health fair at noon and it ends right across the street from IgboFest in Brooklyn Park.
So all those things showcases our culture and how you can see us and embrace and appreciate our culture.
IgboFest Chair Peter Egbudum says the festival will be filled with color performances and traditional foods. This year, he says they want to showcase and celebrate cultures outside of their own.
It's very important that if you are living with me, you know who I am, so that you don't misunderstand me when you look at the way I dress or the way I speak or the kind of food I eat.
Bike the Brooklyns costs $10 for adults and $5 for kids to ride. IgboFest is free for all to attend.
With summer winding down, that also means the 2023 Minnesota Amateur Baseball season, or better known as Town Ball, is also coming to a close. One local team was playing in a tune-up exhibition on Tuesday night ahead of this year's historic Town Ball State Tournament. Chaz Moots has more.
On a summer night in Minnesota, where better place to be
leading it off for Champlin Park, number 9,
than at a ballpark? The Champlin Park LoGators are a Class B town ball team taking part in a scrimmage against the St. Anthony Hogs. The LoGators have racked up 25 wins this season and have already punched their ticket to the Town Ball State Tournament.
I think it's been a balance of pitching and hitting just at different times. I think we've done both pretty well. It's just been putting them together on the same day.
We have a lot of people who just like to be here. I think that's half of it. We just enjoy playing, and every time you go out there, you can do something cool. So try as hard as you can.
The LoGators are one of 300-some town ball teams in Minnesota. No other state in the country has more amateur baseball teams than the land of 10,000 lakes.
From what I've heard, it's not anywhere else in the country like this. It's very unique to Minnesota, and it's just kind of a unique experience that you can come out and have the town come out on the weekends or even a weeknight and get a big crowd coming. And love everything about it.
Town ball in Minnesota is always a big deal, but more so than others, this year is an extra special year for the state tournament, as it's celebrating its 100th anniversary.
You get a lot of people from a lot of different places. The crowds are fun and everyone cares, so there's a lot on the line, it seems like, at every pitch.
It's got to be the atmosphere. The intensity is nothing like it. Last year was unbelievable. On the edge of our seats, every pitch. It was something that I want to keep coming back and playing for every year.
State tournament appearances have been familiar for the LoGators as Champlin is making their 8th straight trip to the state town ball tournament. And after placing second last summer, the LoGators are hoping to bring home their first state title at the 100th state tournament.
We're hungry, we want to come back, and we got some unfinished business. This Twin Stadium's got Town Ball Tavern, dedicated to all the amazing ballparks we have across the state and all the champions of last year. So we want to get our jersey up there this year.
In Champlin, Chaz Moots, CCX Sports.
The LoGators will be playing in their league playoff seeding games this weekend. Those games will determine where Champlin will play their first state tournament game on August 18th. Summer is a busy time for capital improvements at schools. At Osseo High School, a big project is almost done at Carlton Field. It's year 2 of improvements at Osseo High School. Fans coming to John Hanson Stadium at Carlton Field this fall will notice a new look.
Last year, new turf, new lights, new visitor bleachers. So this year, new bleachers and new press box. So it's overdue. This school and this field was pretty old and needed a little bit of an updating. Just updating everything. We're losing a few rows up top, made it a little bit smaller than before, just like the visitor side, a couple rows shorter. But still should be able to fit our whole community to come on Friday nights and for all of our soccer and lacrosse games.
The old bleachers were well worn and not up to code, so the new stands were definitely needed. And even though the football and soccer players who will use the stadium in the fall won't sit here or use the new press box, those involved in the project believe they will love it.
It is exciting. You know, last year having the new turf put in and the visitor bleachers, and then now with the press box in the home stadium, just feeling like there's some new blood to the stadium a little bit, some excitement for the boys as we work and we come out here when we do our speed and strength stuff and they can see the progress.
The pride that our athletes had last year coming onto the new field with Osseo in the end zones and the new turf, it was definitely a different feel, and I'm anticipating that feel with the press box and bleachers here, and same at Park Center with their new turf this summer. Their athletes are going to feel the same thing we felt last year.
That's it for sports. More CCX News after this. Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.